Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Nelson, and I'm also known as Michael Dees. Michael Dees is the pen name that I write under for the novels that I publish. And a lot of the stories that I share with you are stories that either didn't make the cut for my books or that I will probably add at some other time. So your comments are very much appreciated since, I recognize as much as you do, some of these are clinkers, or I hope not anyway. Because of the situation that we're in right now, sheltering in place, isolating, I thought I'd share my own experience with something very much akin to this. In the late 80s, I was practicing in a very rural area of Wisconsin, what they call the Coulee region. The Coulee region had an extremely large Amish settlement. And in that year, we had a particularly warm winter. Not a lot of snowfall and lots of thaws. And as such, when these kinds of things happen, a lot of the viral and bacterial infections of the time didn't go away. Instead, they got worse. And in February, German measles hit the community. Now, I used to have a couple of days a week where I would do house calls. And very often I would be called out, and it would be a situation that had absolutely nothing to do with my area of expertise. But they called me anyway. The doctors, medical doctors at the hospital, wherein I would bring the patients into them, would say, "Well, why did they call you?" And my answer was always, because they knew I would come. Well, this particular year, the measles was bad, and the Amish use a procedure called the measles blanket. Now, for those of you that don't know what that is, they basically take a child that has measles, wrap him in a blanket, let him sweat in it for a while, and then they take it around the community and they wrap all the children in it. And as a result, all the children get measles all at the same time. Now, measles for a child is bad enough. The symptoms are what they call photophobia, which is trouble with light, high fever, spots, of course, and you don't want the spots to get in their throat or anything like that. But for an older adult, much like the COVID-19, they are at great risk because for them, it's a killer. So once all the children have the measles, they gather them together in one place, which is called a measles house. And on this particular occasion, they had a couple of measles houses. And unbeknownst to me, I walked right into one. And it was bad enough. So there were as many as 12 to 15 beds laid out on the floor in the house, children on each one, all suffering, older men really suffering. They have what they call opportunistic conditions that come off of this, things like pneumonia, which are hard to recover from if your immune system is already depressed by the measles. So it was a very dire circumstance. And I went back to town, told the doctors. They said, "Well, you're our guy. You're going to have to keep going." And the measles epidemic went worse and worse. And then they got diphtheria. Now, I was going out there every day to the houses. I was bringing medicines. The doctors were tied up with their own problems at the hospital. So I was it. And it was a hard time. And we lost some people. And every night, this was before N95 masks or barrier clothing or anything like that. I did the best I could. I'd never heard of an N95 mask. Every night when I got home, I would have to go in the basement door, strip down to my nethers, shower in the basement, put my clothes in the washing machine, and then come upstairs in my bathrobe. And only then did I get to hug my children. We lost some people that year. We lost some babies, and we lost some elderly. And I learned at that time there is absolutely nothing that takes the place of human kindness. If you know anyone who's alone, don't text them. Pick up the phone. Give them a call. I wish you well. Take care. And there will be more videos that are more fun.